Morning, lovely to see you. Great to be here. And it might be a bit windy, but it's just nice to be outside. Because, there's going to be more days when we get to play with rocks coming up. So I'm outside when I can be. And let me show you the circle garden from on top. There we go. It's pretty when you look at it this way. So there it is. That was always my idea, was to have this circle of bulbs and things. Hi Linda, good morning. And right now you can see what I intended. And it's lovely. It smells good too. Here are more morning things. Good morning Heather. I meant more autumn things. Look at how the thalictrum goes gold and even brown when it's dying off. Hi Tracy. Look at that foliage, it's glorious. Hi Elaine, morning. It's just beautiful. I love the seasons. I love the way they turn. And that is the purple thalictrum going to bed for the year. And look at that. Look at the detail here. These leaves are old. They're getting chewed. But isn't it fabulous? And look, there's a native fern in the background there looking beautiful. It's kind of hard to stop the native things from growing, and why would you? We climb up here straight through the garden because I want to show you this little ginkgo tree that I have here. There's two on the property, one on the other side of the property. This is the one that nearly died, and I thought it had died, and I went to dig it out and discovered that it was growing from the bottom. So they're a slow tree. They take a long time to turn into a monster, but there it is, and it's growing, so that's a nice thing. Oh, look, we have a little cat with us. Looking at the colouring of the cat, this is Freya. There's a pair of them. So, they rather like this garden. There's so much space for them to just be. Plenty of happy cat spots. And here is the loganberry, which is going to get legs and move and be somewhere else next year. Morning, Julia. Lovely to see you on deck. And see these naked ladies, belladonnas, nerines, whatever you want to call them, they're all done. But look, again, okay, the flowers are finished, but look at this. Isn't there something glorious about the next stage? Especially the way the sun's hitting the camera right now. So I'm just enjoying these things. Oh, and look at this glorious grass. It just grows in a little place here. It grows actually at the bottom of the steps. And it's so fine and so delicate. And I love that. And it grows a little bit over here as well, but you don't really get to see it. So, just going to show you one more thing, because I mentioned it. See, this is the ginkgo tree. Well, yeah, there's the sun. But this is the ginkgo tree that's a little bit bigger. And this one was in a pot at my mother's house for a long time, and then I planted it here, long story short, and it took years, but it's finally established, and every year it gets a bit bigger. So, Christina, it's lovely to see you. Diane, yay, welcome. Lovely to be here out in the garden. Oh, I nearly forgot to show you the roses. Alright, got to show you the roses. They won't be here for much longer. It's always a smattering. And Tony, it's beautiful to see you. So there we are, get up close and personal with the Veilchenblow rose, and it's all happening here, which I like. So autumn flowers are always like this. They're sort of sporadic and scattered, except for the nerines, which are insane. But there you are, it's nice to have some beauty to share. So we're carrying straight on, sort of, from yesterday. Well, that's funny, when I went to think, what are we talking about on Friday? Yesterday, I was like, blank, I had no idea. And so really, this is kind of like from a fresh slate, even if it looks like it's connected to yesterday. And it's really this feeling that, and it's probably because my awareness has kind of shifted about what's happening in the world. Because as you know, I very consciously make a choice not to absorb a lot of the media, because it comes with a lot of hype. There's often a lot of myths and, people making massive projections and being scared and tra-la-la-la. And I don't want to, I'm so not interested. But there is real information starting to come out, and so I just get a little bit of that. And so in New Zealand, it's contained, and there's only, I don't think there's even 20. But they're expecting it to grow, and the idea is to flatten the curve so everybody doesn't get sick at the same time, which means that systems can cope. And around the world, there's stuff happening. My friend Sangmarie in the Gambia, because they're not a country where they have the resources to cope with a massive COVID-19 outbreak, they've shut the country down for 3 weeks. Every country is making its own decisions, whether you agree with them or not. And my awareness has just been raised about it. And so with the change in awareness comes, and we're all having this one way or another, with the change in awareness, with the new information, really, always comes some kind of emotional response. What do I think about this? And very quickly after that, what do I feel about it? And so, and then you start to think, and the stock market's going down, and all the exchange rates are going crazy, and everything's and people are losing their jobs, and what's it all going to be like, right? The world's going to hell in a handbasket, which is a very easy thing to think right now, and then very shortly to feel scared about, because there's so much unknown that we're facing. What's happening on the planet right now is that we are all facing an enormous amount of unknown. One way or another, our usual patterns and usual habits and usual ways of beings are being turned upside down. And to wind back slightly, how this normally happens to us, being turned upside down, having a big stick stuck into the pot and stirred around, is if you have a crisis in your life, if you have a diagnosis or a relationship ends or you lose your job or an accident or something. Hi, Sharon! You have a crisis, right? There's a planetary crisis right now. And I don't actually want to use that word, but I'm going to use it for the moment because I don't see it as a crisis, even though it is, just to be confusing. So you have this thing come up and you have new information, something's changed, and because you are jolted out of your normal way of being, you can suddenly see yourself for the first time. You can suddenly go, I was like that, and now I'm like this, and I can't go back to that because it's changed. And Rachel, good morning. And as uncomfortable as this is, it's also a massive opportunity to create. And right here is our opportunity about what we're going to create. Because you can let yourself be seduced, and I do use that word with some thought and awareness. You can let yourself be seduced by the fear and the misinformation and the conspiracy theories and all this other stuff. And I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, I'm just saying there's a whole lot of dramatic and scary energy that a lot of people are participating in around this. And I don't want to do that. But it's very easy. It's all around us. And there's so much on the media. You can spend your whole day reading, and still there's more because there's, ongoing updates, right? So, like I say, there's all this information saying there's dramatic stuff happening and people are dying and, and countries are changing into economic impacts and then how it impacts you, right? It's very, very easy to get drawn into that. And I noticed myself having the choice, having the opportunity to go into that space yesterday and making the very conscious choice to not do that because I don't want to create that. Because remember, where you put your attention is where you put your energy. And whatever you put your energy on is going to grow. And I had to say to myself, look, what do you want to put your attention on? What do you want to create in this immense situation, right? And yeah, you're right, Rachel. The shadow does need to come out. And here's a thing that I've really started to understand just quite recently. That when you are creating something new in your life, like for me, let's use the example of abundance, right? And I go into the field and I do my work and I connect for the very first time, whenever it was, which I can no longer remember, but I would have written it down, with, oh my God, I really, really feel abundant. I really feel connected with absolutely everything. I want for nothing. I could die right now. I'm complete. and everything I desire and need and want is available, and it's here in me now, and I have it, right? You've connected with that feeling. Cool. Feels so good. Now, if you can connect with that feeling so powerfully that it kind of erases all the impact of your past history and your memories and everything, that's great. And sometimes people have that experience. For me, it's real, it's genuine, but then I open my eyes and I go back to my quote-unquote real, unreal life, and, it's still there. Even though it's not, I'm creating it. Let's just make sure we don't get buried in the idea that anything that I've created is actually real unless I make it so. God, it's a paradox. So I have this really clear vision and I feel it, I know it. And then life comes along, And life that comes along after that point when I really know what it is that I desire to collapse into being, be it a healing or a relationship or a job or whatever comes up in me was there in me before. It's not me saying, no, I don't want this. It's me saying, hey, Maddie, now this is who you want to be, but you've still got this other old self hanging around, and here it is right for you to see it. And to a very certain degree, I think that's what's happening on a planetary scale. It's just so big, and we're inside it. It's easy to be scared of it. Isn't it we need to lose the material stuff? Yeah, all of that, Rachel. But I think it's bigger than that. That's a discussion in itself. It's a huge discussion. Oh, right. Because I can feel that if I went into that, I'd go off sideways. So, yes, there is a global shift happening. And if you think about it, oh God, I'm going to dig myself in a hole here, but this is how I think about it, okay? So please don't be offended. Or if you're offended, you're welcome to be offended, but this is just how I think about it. If you imagine humanity as a community, as a brain, right? Because we are all connected. We are connected through the unified field. We are connected through the empathy neurons, the mirror neurons. We're connected by, the sort of collective consciousness. What do you want to say? When there is something that happens on a big scale like this and lots of people are affected, as much as it looks like it's a disaster, it's a co-creation. You know that the last flu pandemic we had was, 1918? Somebody will probably correct me, but I think more people died in that conflict than died in the First World War. It took out a massive number of people. And the interesting thing about it, if you can call this interesting, is that most of the people who died were young men in their 20s. It was really specific. It took out a sector of the population. And you think, oh my God, how ghastly, and no young men, and all the impacts and everything else. But look at that from a consciousness point of view. Just for a moment, try to distance yourself from the horror of that, because it would have been really tough. But what if there was something in the mindset of all the young men at that time that humanity as a whole was actually ready to let go of, and those beings needed a way to get off the planet so they could come back again with a different consciousness? What if that was what was going on? So, if we think about humanity as a whole, as a consciousness, and look at it that way, I'm not saying that there are any answers that I can say, I think this is what's going on, this is what it means. But it makes me wonder if maybe, this time it's the elderly. Maybe that's part of the consciousness shift too. I don't know. I don't want my mother to die of this coronavirus. But, I hope you know what I'm saying. So, that's the macro scale, right? And yeah, I think it is a global clearing, Linda, you're right. And I mean, you look at the economic breakdown, the financial breakdown, and everything breakdown, it's got to break down. And thank God you've reminded me of the point I wanted to make. That if you want to bring in a new world order, God, I don't know this word, if you want to bring in a new consciousness, you have to let go of the old, and you don't get to choose what you let go of. You've got to let go of it all. You gotta let go of it all. And I've been watching the ecological destruction, the fires in Australia and the Amazon, and when I tune in, I ask about those, all I get is, it's the death of an old consciousness, and I'm thinking, what? Because I always had this idea that with this shift in consciousness, somehow all the beautiful ecology would stay the same. What? I don't know. But what if it is all part of the same thing? What if it is, like we as humanity on the globe have the flu? And this is the fever, and things are dying because they have to, because they're not part of the new consciousness. It's crazy. But if that's so, and just for the moment, let's say that it might be, right? Accept it as a possibility, because there are limitless possibilities available to us. If that's really what's happening, then we don't need to pay attention to all the drama. We need to look after ourselves, we need to look after each other, and it's we that's making the clean sweep, Linda, with Gaia. There is a co-creation, we do it together. Remember, we're connected by the Schumann resonance envelope. Gaia affects us, we affect Gaia. They've measured it. So, if this is really what's happening, then where we choose to put our attention and our consciousness, and what we choose to say, okay, this is not the disaster it appears to be. This is an opportunity. And there is chaos and there is destruction, and that is where creation begins. You've got to break up the old thing if you're going to get something new. It's how it works. And we get scared by it because, bits of the old stuff are really comfortable for us. But you don't get to pick and choose. So where are you going to put your attention? What are you creating? Are you just saying, right, I'm going to hold peace? When my neighbour or my friends at work or my enemies at work or whatever are going on about how scared they are, I'm going to just sit and listen, and I'm going to breathe through my heart, and I'm going to make myself coherent. We talked about that recently. We just got to get whole. We've got to get coherent. We've got to get clear. And they may not be willing or open or able to hear you say, hey, it's okay. I don't know how it is that it's okay, but I know it's okay. So you might just decide not to participate in the fear. Love ourselves and others, absolutely. Samantha, good morning, honey. We've just got to choose what we invest in. And sometimes investing your energy in what you desire means simply not participating in what others are doing. It means choosing to just hold your own light in the space of them getting all dramatic. That takes quite a lot of powerful choosing and choice to do. That is a great service to say no. There is not a disaster going on. There is a consciousness shift going on, and I'm choosing what part of this shift I'm going to play my part in. Am I going to be, in the, oh my God, everything's falling apart, or oh my God, or am I going to be, oh my goodness, thank heavens, yay, everything's coming together. And there's chaos because the old stuff is falling apart, and it's what we've all been working towards for the last little while, or long while, depends how, So, this is big for me right now, because I've been doing it for a long time. Well, it seems like a long time. Very soon it'll be a year since I started doing this work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And that year has already erased a good portion of the programming, the conditioning, the biological damage, blah, 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 of the last 52 and a half years. It doesn't take that long. It's not a quick fix. It's not a pill. It's not a have this treatment and your whole life will change. It's a get the skill. Create yourself. Helen, good morning. Become, choose, recognize your power, feel the power of the cosmos, of the universes flowing through you, and realize you can create with it. And to take a year, an hour a day, to do that for myself, oh, what a ride. And it's just beginning. I can't tell you. Every day is just magic now. Even when it gets scary, I know that fear has come up so I can turn it into magic the next day. That's how it works. Came up yesterday. This morning, more magic. We are the universe, Julie, and you're so right. I go places where I become all of it. And I choose who I am when I'm all of it. And when I come back, I don't want to be anybody other than me, but I feel that connection. And that connection is easier and easier to access and be in the middle of everything that isn't connected. in the middle of everything that's saying, oh, it's scary. I'm scared, I'm going to go hungry, you know. And I've still got all of those challenges floating around. But my being is different. And that's what I'm inviting and encouraging and even calling you to stand up and be for yourself. And it is giving us the gift of time. You're right, Linda. Time to just stop, pull the plug on everything and choose and create. And so really that's what I want to say today. This is our power. This is who we are. Choose your focus. Choose who you're being. Do it whatever way works for you. And know that these are the times that we came here to live in and create in. Yes, so right, Samantha. This is what we're doing. And all the so-called destruction and chaos is the end of the old habits and addictions. And addictions don't die easily. On a personal scale and on a planetary scale. Don't you think people are being unplugged from all kinds of old habits? And it's being forced on them. Because consciousness has said, this is it. It's time now. It's happening. And those who can't come need to leave. And it's okay. There's a pattern in that, and they will be back. They'll be back. At least that's what I know to be true for myself. So, there's our Friday. What an incredible week. It's all happening, and we're here. Part of it. This is the party. Celebrate. Can you tell I feel this in my bones? I'm going to show you this because it's a beautiful thing. Look, there's the dark, and there's the light. And that's who we are. Much love. Look out for Resonant Replays over the weekend. I'll see you on my Monday.